Good morning, and it is time for Lopes on Movies. My name is Joey Lopes, and today we are going to do probably the most important Lopes on Movies episode of the year, where we talk about our predictions and hopes for the 2020 Academy Awards. I am joined in this excursion by Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
And Connor, live in New York City.
Hi, not live, but yes, I'm in New York City. Why so
you're
dramatic?
here with us now.
I mean, we've been over this before.
You weren't on the episodes where we went over this, Kyle.
Oh, okay. So my bad.
Yeah, you asked me why I'm being so dramatic, Connor?
Yes. Why?
I mean, it's the Academy Awards. You know, this is the most prestigious award show in...
What other award shows give out awards to movies like Crash, Green Book, and other hits like that?
Yeah, so the Oscars don't have a great track record either. And I guess what we shouldn't do is expect the Oscars to get it right this year either.
No.
I think the most interesting year of the Oscars in recent memory was, of course, the infamous 2017 La La Land Moonlight debacle.
You mean where that old guy did absolutely nothing wrong?
Yeah,
destroyed
Warren
for
Beatty got thrown under the bus for doing literally nothing wrong. But then, Moonlight winning the Oscar was actually a major upset that year. That was something that nobody was expecting because La La Land had kind of swept all the other awards leading up to the Oscars. So that was a really interesting moment. But then immediately the next year after that, it's like Green Book. So
they kind of lost it.
They kind of, well, I guess, was that the next year, or was Shape of Water?
No, the next year was Shape of Water.
Okay, so
right.
Shape of Water was also weird, but then after Shape of Water was Green Book, where it's like, okay, we're gonna regress back to giving it to Oscar bait. So this year, the question remains: is that gonna happen again, or can that happen again? Because is there any movies in this list that kind of fit that bill? So that's kind of the kind of stuff we're going to get into today.
Yeah, so Joey, I think the best thing we could do is just go through the Best Motion Picture of the Year nominees, just one at a time, and just say whatever we have to say about them.
I think that's a great idea. So let's start at the top, and I got to give a warm shout out to my personal top movie of the year, Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh yes, finally, I can talk about it.
All right.
So I didn't see this one.
Yeah, I gotta say, guys, I gotta apologize to all of our loyal fans. Not a single one of us saw Ford versus Ferrari.
No.
I think that's the only blind spot in our Best Picture analysis here.
I don't even think I know anyone that's seen it to ask their opinion on it.
I've seen the trailer many times.
Well, yeah,
and
of course.
It was a pretty solid trailer, I bet the movie's fine. I bet it's a perfectly fine film.
I heard it's got good sound. Somebody told me it's got good sound.
It's got good sound.
Somebody
told you it has good sound.
Yeah, I heard it got.
That's what they led with.
Sound.
Those car engines revving up, it's like
It's
really
got great
gets you.
sound. Obviously, Christian Bale, Matt Damon, two heavy hitters. It just, that's
directed
the movie.
by the guy who directed Logan. But I will say, Ford versus Ferrari is probably a fine movie. But let's be real, guys. I mean, there's some pretty heavy hitters here. I don't think we need to see Ford versus Ferrari to
God, what if it won?
To change our
That'd
opinions.
be amazing.
So one thing I want to do as we start going through all of these movies is saying certain groups of people on the internet and in the world have kind of consensus of what they want to see win. And I think Ford versus Ferrari is the only one on this list that I don't think anybody really cares to have win Best Picture.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sad, and maybe that gives it an underdog status. Maybe it would actually be kind of cool if Ford versus Ferrari, came out of nowhere and just said, "Hey, I'm the winner now."
Okay, next.
Okay, next is of course The Irishman, which we've talked about at length on this show. Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. Out of all of the groups of people that want to win or want The Irishman to win Best Picture, I can say I count myself among them. I think The Irishman was the movie that affected me the most this year, and the movie that I think about the most, having seen it twice and still feeling like there's plenty more to discover from it. So I don't know, like I don't think you saw it, Kyle. I know Connor, you saw it a couple of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I love The Irishman. I think it's great. Is it? I think I would be totally cool with that winning Best Picture. It's and other awards too. There's a number of, we have obviously Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, who are both nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think it's very likely that those two are going to split votes there. So
it could be.
Which is kind of silly that they nominate two people for the same, like two people in one movie for one award. I don't understand how that ever is a good idea. I think there's another award show that does like a Best Ensemble Cast.
That's the SAG Awards, yeah.
The SAG Awards, and I think Irishman won for that, and that
is incorrect.
Oh, it isn't. Then there's another award show that does the Best Ensemble then, because it did win for something. But I think that's what like this would win for the most. Like this had this like a very strong cast, especially with those three. I think you brought it up before, Joey, in a past show that we did that I think people are sleeping on Robert De Niro a little bit also.
Absolutely.
He's tremendous
that's probably my
in
biggest disappointment from the discourse surrounding The Irishman this year, even ignoring all of the nonsense about how Anna Paquin doesn't have enough lines. Like that was probably the most irritating, but the most disappointing thing is how nobody's talking about how good Robert De Niro is in that movie, because let's face it, he's unbelievably good in that movie.
Yes. Okay. Can we if anyone wants to hear anything else we think about The Irishman, we have another show that you can watch on our YouTube channel.
It's true. You can just search Lopes on Movies and hear what we thought about The Irishman
Joey,
directly.
How fitting that this next movie and director is right after The Irishman. So we have Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi.
So, Connor, as far as I understand, you're the only one here who has seen Jojo Rabbit.
I did see Jojo Rabbit.
And
I really don't like Jojo Rabbit. Like I think so. I didn't have a problem with the material. Let's be clear. Like I'm fine with the whole. Obviously, if people aren't aware, they're satirizing Hitler again in something, and in this one, it's a little boy who has this image of Hitler in his mind that he sees. It's kind of like his imaginary friend Hitler, and it's like a goofy portrayal on him and whatnot, and blah blah blah. There's only so many times I can laugh at people entering a room and going Heil Hitler to each other like 90 times in a row. Like, and that's the whole movie. Like, I'm telling you, this is not funny. It's not good. It's really, really not good. And just like, if you were just waiting for that scene at the end where, spoilers, sorry, like a little kid punches like the imaginary Hitler out a window and you get a cheer moment. That doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't make me laugh. Nothing. This guy Taika Waititi, Joey, I think I'm on your side now with this.
Yeah, so, I've gone full Taika Waititi as a hack.
Yeah, so this guy loves himself so much and had the audacity to go pretty hard on Martin Scorsese for his view, which is that the Marvel films are not cinema and they're more like amusement parks. And Taika was pretty strong in his defense of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because, they pretty much propped him up to where he is now by giving him that Thor movie. And it's just... I listened to it.
Strange coincidence how, shortly after he makes those comments, he's announced as directing new Star Wars movies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, it seems perfect, right? Like, he's
the
only
ring.
one. Oh, he kissed the rings big time. And you could kind of tell, he did this... They always do these roundtable like discussions around like Oscar time. I think it's like the Hollywood Reporter does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one was a writers' roundtable, and they put Taika Waititi in this one because they didn't put him with the directors like Martin Scorsese because I think they were afraid that it could get ugly. So they put him with
Todd Phillips.
They put him with the writers. They put Todd Phillips in there instead. Yeah. But so they put Taika with the writers, and it came up immediately, of course, like the whole Marvel thing, movies, whatever, are they cinema? And he, defended himself again in his opinion. But all the other writers, they kind of laughed, and then they quickly like defended Scorsese, I think, like pretty easily too. And like the guy, all of them too. Like the one that I was really impressed with, Lorene Scaffria. She's the screenwriter for Hustlers. Yeah. So she brings up like a terrific point that that when they ask everybody like what's the problem with like the industry, if there's one thing you can change, and they brought up like of course the inequality parts earlier, but then she brought up, this is like to a lesser extent but also extremely important, is that there's a problem with the financing of movies, and there needs to be diversity in the financing of films. And she said like this is what happened like after the financial crisis in 2008 is what her opinion was. They just put all their eggs in these superhero movie baskets, and then like it's just sucking up the whole landscape of film. And basically everyone kind of just like agreed with this, and Taika of course stayed very quiet of this whole thing. But there's just other moments too, and the writer of Bombshell, Charles Randolph, he quickly tried to chime in on the Scorsese comments also, and said, he kind of just said like so matter of fact, like, well, he's right, and like a lot of the stuff is frankly not very good, like the stories. And it's like, and then he just kind of also quickly said like, yeah, and I think the real problem is like original like ideas, and like Marty's definitely got the upper hand on that side. And then I think even Taika had to like concede a bit, because it was kind of like sad that he was like. And the other thing was, so last thing on this, because I know I don't want to take up all the time, because it just really bothered me and made me laugh also, is they ask a question to all these writers of the characters that you've written, who would you like to like spend the most time with? And all of them have written like these great works that are very interesting. The guy who wrote the movie, the Freddie Mercury movie, said, he wants to see Freddie Mercury, whatever. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. And like Taika's answer was Thor. And it's like, the rest of them are like real people who are making real things, and you're just some hack. Like it's really, really bothersome. And for him to say anything against Martin Scorsese is just unbelievable. And no, it's perfect sense. He's destined to be with Disney now. It's
where he belongs,
forever.
I think. I think it is. And it's a shame too, because that what We Do in the Shadows movie was pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that movie.
This guy actually had some ability.
Yeah, my understanding is that he was an artist at one time in his life.
And I think he kind of did like an about face too, because he did say like before I got like heated. I had to like find out more about this. So I listened to an interview right after he did that Thor movie, and he said, they asked him like, "Are you gonna go back to smaller films after this?" And he was like, Yeah, I definitely want to go back to smaller films. This is kind of like a one for them, one for me kind of thing. He's really doubled down the other way now. Like he's,
instead
he's
of
gone
one
the other
for
way.
them, one for me, it's all for them, and
all for them.
I'm one of them now.
Yeah, all for them. I'm one of them, and pay me.
Just like James Gunn. Oh
right.
man, how pitiful! How pitiful!
Yeah, but anyway, so. Jojo Rabbit. Okay, next one.
So, in lighter news, Joker. Todd Phillips is the Joker. So
who all has seen that?
Me again.
Connor's the only one who saw Joker. But like I said, the different groups of people on the internet. I would say the people that want Joker to win are the film bros of the world.
Oh yeah.
Because of course the film bros, their experience of movies is Marvel movies, and then occasionally like one other movie during the year, and that other movie was Joker this year. And of course, because it's a superhero movie made for adults, that must mean it is the most important film statement of our time. So they're the ones who are going to be pining for Joker. Of course, again, I can say nothing about the quality of Joker, as I have not seen it, but I'm just calling it like I see it.
I saw it. I didn't like it, and Joaquin Phoenix is great. He's going to win Best Actor for sure. He's won everything so far, and he's given some good speeches. Some speeches he's done drunk, particularly Golden Globe speech, but the other speeches were good. Yeah, Joker. I wonder if one day Joey will release the lost episode review of Joker that I did.
Oh yeah, the Lopes on movie lost episode.
I don't know, I got really depressed after listening to that.
Maybe someday. Okay. That'll be on our Patreon.
Oh yeah.
We got
a few more movies to get to. So let's I'm going to group these two together because they're actually related in an interesting way. So we got Little Women and Marriage Story. Little Women, of course, is the new film from Greta Gerwig, who recently won a decent amount of stuff for Lady Bird, her previous directorial debut, actually. And then Marriage Story, directed by Noah Baumbach. And they are actually a couple. So this might be the first time that there's been a couple who both have movies nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, which is pretty cool. Like that's pretty interesting.
Did that happen for The Hurt Locker too, or no?
Yeah, or I think they might have been divorced.
Oh,
I
that's
could be
right.
wrong.
Yeah.
So a couple that is currently together.
For now.
Dark joke. Anyway, both of those movies are pretty wonderful. I would say. I think if I could say one thing I didn't like about Little Women, it's incredibly pedantic. It's that in the first 30 minutes, there's like 2 scenes that have really awkward slow motion for no reason. And that brings the movie down a tremendous peg just for that reason. But otherwise, very lovely film, and I think it is definitely worthy of an inclusion in this list of movies here. And Marriage Story is very very meticulously written and constructed, and very very interesting, and has a great musical score. Also, it's something that really stuck out to me while I was watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved both these movies too, and I wish we could have had more time to talk about both of them in their own show, at one point. Yeah, but I would say the same thing. Little Women's great. Saoirse Ronan, awesome. The whole cast is great. It's excellent. Even Bob Odenkirk is in Little Women. Laura Dern is also in Little Women.
She's in both Little Women and Marriage Story, actually.
And Marriage Story.
And she's great.
And she's fantastic in both. She's one of the best actors.
I know what I won't be watching.
I really think so. So, yeah, I love both those movies. I guess, Little Women takes place back in like the Civil War era, and it perfect period piece. So I think it captured the time perfectly. The only thing that I would say also is that it's like they weren't doing that badly. They're kind of like they're really upper middle class and wealthy people kind of going around during some pretty dark times. It's kind of like at some point you're like, all right, well, this is something, but this is just their lives about who they're going to marry at some point. But so that's something. And then Marriage Story is excellent. It's about a couple breaking apart. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are just excellent at that.
Yeah, there are some scenes in Marriage Story that are incredibly moving, and very bittersweet movie. I'd say it's something that there's a lot of nuances in it that you can really appreciate. I think no matter what perspective you're coming from. So yeah, I would definitely I would seek that out as quickly as possible, because that's probably one of my favorites of the year.
Oh, me too, 100%. I'd be happy with both of these winning Best Picture also. For Marriage Story, is anyone who's been in any relationship that hasn't worked out, I think would definitely feel something from this too, especially when it's not when there's still some feeling there too. I think it's definitely very powerful, and it's
absolutely
very very excellent movie.
Well, I think we've gotten to the 3 big ones.
Oh yeah, the only movies Kyle saw,
and this is your time to shine, Kyle, because what a group of films they are.
It's a very good group.
So the first movie, 1917.
Yes.
This is pretty much unequivocally the favorite to win Best Picture.
Oh, is it?
And this is based on a variety of factors, but just looking at the data, it won the BAFTA Award for Best Picture. It won the Golden Globe for Best Picture. It won the Producers Guild Award for Best Picture. And Sam Mendes won the Directing Feature Film Award at the Directors Guild Awards.
Interesting.
So pretty much most of the big ones have gone to 1917. So usually that's a pretty good sign of what the Oscars are going to turn out like, because the Producers Guild, the Directors Guild, these are people that also vote on the Academy Awards, right? So you could very easily imagine that 1917 will come out on top.
It makes sense.
Now, for my money, it's not the best movie on this list, and
it's the worst of the next 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that too. And it doesn't. I think there's a lot of people that would be really. So again, like looking at our groups of people, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a tremendous following for 1917 to win Best Picture, but some of the film bros maybe like pivoted away from Joker to 1917 because Roger Deakins did the cinematography, and of course, film bros love Roger Deakins.
You gotta love the Deeks.
Oh yeah, you gotta love the Deeks, of course. Also, it's a one-take movie, and any kind of thing involving cameras and technology that it seems cutting edge.
Okay, Joey, calm down. Minds. Don't go into one of your rants again.
No, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just saying. So I could see that group, but to me, there's been a surprising pushback against 1917 from a lot of people, like a lot of critics and a lot of just like commenters on Twitter. And I don't know, like I think it was good. I can't say that I would be really disappointed to see 1917 win something. So yeah, I don't know. Like for my money, it's a very good movie, and I think it would be a fine Best Picture winner.
Like it didn't quite hit me the same as these other movies.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's just kind of like a cool World War One. Yeah, World War One movie.
Yeah, exactly. Connor, what are your feelings on it?
I like 1917, but I would agree also. I think there's 5 other things that I'd rather see win than this. 5 other movies. And actually there's probably more than that, movies that didn't get nominated for this for best motion picture that I would have winning over 1917. But I was the one that was defending 1917 on our review of 1917.
This is true. You were the guy.
And this is also on our YouTube page. Okay, can we move on to the next one?
So the next movie, I think this has been a couple of people that I knows favorite film of the year. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino movie. So this one also has a little bit of buzz going into the Oscars. It won the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Film. And there's been a lot of the actors in it winning awards, like Brad Pitt's been winning a lot of things for his role in that movie. So it also has been getting a decent amount of traction leading into the Oscars. I wouldn't say nearly as much as 1917 for Best Picture, but definitely making an impression. For my money, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is just a phenomenal movie.
Oh, yes.
I've rewatched it once in full in theaters, and part of it a third time, and that third time, if I had more time to continue watching it, I would have, because I was completely engrossed again just from Jump Street. Like, it's probably one of my, it's obviously one of my favorite movies of the year, but it's just such a nice movie to chill with. Like, you turn that movie on, and it's just like, I like where I'm at. I like being here. This is where I want to be for the next 3 hours.
Absolutely. I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I want to see Bounty Law become a TV series like Quentin Tarantino is hinting at.
Bounty Law.
Or like Bounty Law. Yeah, it's gotta happen. All right. And we have a review of that one too on the YouTube page. Okay, and last but not least.
Now this is I think the most interesting Best Picture nominee for a variety of reasons. This is, of course, the Bong Joon-ho film Parasite. So the last group of people that we need to talk about and what they want to win Best Picture is, of course, Film Twitter, which is, the group of people on Twitter that talk about film. Of course, this is a very large group of people with differing opinions and different thoughts, but they want to see Parasite win. I don't know what else to tell you. The letterboxed people, they want to see Parasite win Best Picture.
I mean, I want to see Parasite win Best Picture.
And I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to want to see, because that would be a heck of a statement, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So Parasite won the SAG Award for Best Ensemble, which I think is the first time that a foreign film has won that award. And, of course, the SAG Awards Best Ensemble is the highest, most sought-after award, because they're the Screen Actors Guild. It's all about the actors, whatever. So Parasite won for that, which was definitely a big surprise. Really, really cool. It also won the National Society of Film Critics Best Picture Award, because film critics and film Twitter are cut from a similar cloth, of course. And critics really, really love Parasite and would love to see it win a few things. I think the LA Film Critics Association also gave it their their best picture of the year. But don't quote me on that. That's just in my memory. Of course, Parasite's a great movie, and I think it's one that's had surprising, lasting, like, staying power through just the culture. Like, everybody has seen Parasite. Everybody's talking about Parasite, as we said in our previous
My
Oscar
parents have
episode.
seen Parasite.
And
Like,
to me, a Parasite victory almost feels like the right choice in a weird way, just because of what a great statement that would make. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree. I think that a Parasite victory would be perfect for film. I think it would do a lot for how people perceive film. Because if this does win Best Picture, that would mean it would also win Best Foreign Film and Best Picture. Now, what does that mean? Will that open up things now? Will there be more foreign films that are getting more attention around the world? In the United States too. Are we going to get more movies like Parasite that we'll be able to see? And I'll tell you, there are a lot of really great foreign films that are being made, but people don't get to see them here because you only get to see the superhero movies in your cineplexes and all these things. It's a problem. But this would be a great thing. There are a few movies. Parasite's one of them, obviously. I think that's the clear one. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think, would be another one that's a pretty good statement. Little Women, Marriage Story. The Irishman also, I think these are all ones that would be good for film. There's ones that are bad for film though, which would be like Joker. It's not that wouldn't be great. That wouldn't be great for film.
it would make the wrong kind of statement.
It would make a very, very wrong statement.
And Jojo Rabbit also because of Taika Waititi. So that's also a very bad statement.
That guy don't want to win anything for any reason.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Imagine him up on the stage accepting that award. Make you want to throw up.
Oh man. I think the a good just kind of thing to say regarding Parasite was I really love what Bong Joon-ho said when he accepted the Best Foreign Feature award at the Golden Globes, where he said the kind of cheeky once you get over the 1-inch barrier that is subtitles, there's a whole world of movies out there for you to appreciate. And he makes a great point. It's like, subtitles are really not that big a deal, guys.
They aren't.
People, I think, will think they'll see a movie as subtitles like, oh, I don't want to sit there reading the whole time.
It's just the laziest thing in the world.
And it's like people say this unironically. Like, I think they say it like half jokingly, but they're dead serious that they don't want to sit in a movie and read. So but oh my God, when if you just
Joe, here's the thing. How am I going to play on my phone if I have to read the movie?
That's a great point. It's a great point. A lot of people just like to listen to movies, like to actually watch them.
Like when I tweet out 30 minutes into a movie that I think it's great, I'm going to miss like 2 scenes.
And that's how you're supposed to consume cinema, by the way.
Exactly.
You're supposed to miss scenes to tweet to your, 30 followers how much you think Rise of Skywalker is blowing your mind.
Yeah. Well, don't overestimate me too much.
All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it, though. I mean, again, like the Oscars are a silly thing, and putting too much stock in award ceremonies can be a little bit ridiculous. But every once in a while, the Oscars can be a force for good, just because of how many eyes are on them. Like, so when you see a movie like a couple years ago, when you see a movie like Moonlight win Best Picture, that was a pretty big statement, and that got a lot of people to see an independent movie that they probably definitely would not have seen otherwise, right? Now, of course, things regressed a little later on. You had an Oscar bait movie like Green Book winning something, so that is what it is. But hey, there's a lot of really good movies on this list. Well, all right, everybody, have a lovely rest of your day. We will see you after the Oscars on Sunday for a debrief where we'll go over all the things we hated about what won and complain as much as possible, because we know that's what you want to listen to on a Wednesday morning.
Joey, before we go, I just want to say, and I know you're listening to this, Jonathan Pryce, you stole this nomination from Tom Hanks, and you know you did. I'm done.